From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Have you filled out your 2020 census form yet? Your answer could have important implications here in Montana. Earlier this week, the U.S. Census Bureau announced it will stop its counting efforts for the 2020 census on September 30th. That's a month earlier than originally planned. And for Montana, that's not good news. Thousands of Montanans are likely to go uncounted, and state officials are asking the feds to reconsider the deadline. MTN's Mike Dennison has more.
As of this week, only 56% of Montana households had responded to the 2020 census, one of the lowest response rates in the nation. Montana has a plan to reach those who haven't replied, but that plan was based on an October 31st deadline. If that deadline is sooner, state officials are worried Montana's count will be inaccurately low, and that means federal aid and other benefits will be cut short for the next decade.
It is very important that we get an accurate count, because if we don't get an accurate count, that just means those dollars aren't going to come here, and it's going to go someplace else, to some other state.
The Census Bureau announced Monday it's stopping the count on September 30th, so it can meet a December 31st deadline for getting the numbers compiled. Both of Montana's U.S. Senators and Governor Bullock have demanded that the Bureau reverse its decision. Montana also had hoped to gain a new congressional seat next year because of its population growth the past 10 years. But if the count is incomplete, officials say that gain is unlikely. Cooney, who chairs the State Complete Count Committee, says the census doesn't mail notices to post office boxes or rural route addresses. That's as many as 25% of Montanans. But the coronavirus pandemic has restricted other efforts to reach those who didn't get a mailed notice. The state hired several groups to conduct outreach, but they expected to have more time. And if people don't contact the census by the deadline?
They're not counted. It's just that simple. They don't exist in the eyes of the census. It means that, if one person is not counted, Montana loses about $20,000 over a 10-year period. And when you start adding that up, so if it's 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, 1,000 people who don't get counted, starts to add up to be real money for the state of Montana.
Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Now, if you haven't been counted yet, you can call the Census Bureau at 844-330-2020, or you can contact them online. That is my2020census.gov. Well, high numbers continue here in the Treasure State as far as COVID goes, and 2 more deaths were reported this morning as well, an additional 115 new cases. One of those deaths right here in Yellowstone County, a man in his 60s passed away at the hospital. The other death was reported in Richland County. It's the 28th death in Yellowstone County so far. The state has seen 66 deaths now. The state's total of cases is nearly 4,500, with more than 1,500 of those still active. Well, class is back in session for Billings students beginning on August 24th, and with less than 3 weeks to go, administrators are now scrambling to schedule students and teachers for both the online and in-person classrooms. Q2's Mitch Legge brings us an update from the school superintendent.
Billings parents are being asked to choose either online or in-person schooling for their student for the entire school year amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Thus far, the amount of students enrolled in online classes is far lower than the school district expected. School Superintendent Greg Upham told me today that he thinks that parents are waiting for more specifics about information regarding the entire school day.
There's also a challenge for our parents. They want to be able to see the school day, and they want to be able to see what courses are actually offered. We do have the curriculum out. We want to broadcast that more readily for parents. But the school day, we're wrapping up today with our administrators, and we still have to share it with our teachers.
As of Monday, about 800 students are signed up for online classes. The district expects about 5,000 students to be online this year, based on a parent survey conducted in July. August 14th is the soft deadline for parents to choose either online or in-person classes, just 10 days before the start of school.
I think they're watching the virus and trying to make the best decision, which I fully understand. But at the same time, our urgency is we have to staff this system. I realize the timeline is tight, and we will do the best we can for parents who are waiting to see what would be the best for their child.
There is some flexibility to allow for students who face challenges with one platform to switch to the other. Besides a vaccine or major breakthrough with COVID-19, the year-long commitment remains.
And I really don't believe, and I don't think any of us believe, that the virus is going to be gone on January 16th, which is the end of our first semester. So there is flexibility with that. And I want parents to breathe easier, but I don't want to give false information. So it's the logistics of the planning that made me make the statement, that required me to make the statement about please plan on a year if possible.
In Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
Thanks, Mitch. The school district has put together a frequently asked questions page about the process of getting kids back to school. To find it and the complete reopening plan, you can head to the district's website at billingsschools.org. Montana Governor Steve Bullock will be holding a news conference tomorrow, 10:30 in the morning, to provide an update on COVID cases and discuss testing at the Montana University system. We will be televising that news conference live right here on Q2, as well as on the Q2 Facebook page. The Montana AA State American Legion baseball tournament started today in Billings. A little bit of normal in a summer that has been far from it. Q2's David J. talked with some of the fans watching the hometown teams tonight.
Russ, it's a nice night out here at the ballpark with the sights and sounds and smells. And for a lot of people, they're just happy to be out here at Dealer Park.
I've never watched these guys play. We watch the Mustangs quite a bit, but this should be good. Just a precaution is all. I don't think we got it that bad here.
Everybody seems to be doing pretty well. Normally, for a Legion game, this is how people would be sitting anyway. Both my kids played for Bozeman a few years ago, the Bucks. I love Legion baseball, so I decided to drive in. My oldest son's going to meet me here in a little while.
Fans help a lot because you feel they here for you. They're here for support you, support the team, support the boys. I'm always in the dugout and support them and help them. If I can play in the winter league or something, but it's the only plan I have right now. If I can, good. If I cannot, well, keep practice.
It's been nice to see him work with the boys on the Scarlets and work with himself as to kind of on his coaching aspect of things rather than being just a player, and as well as seeing what they take from him and the stuff they're learning. Being out here, it's really nice, especially after everything being closed and having that time off that they did. It's nice to be able to see them get back into the swing of things, kind of making it as normal as possible with how COVID was.
These fans say they know they're not going to be able to watch the Mustangs this year, so for them, it's just nice to be able to enjoy some baseball. That's the latest from out here. Russ, will send it back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, David. The tournament runs through Sunday, and Scott will have highlights of tonight's Royals Scarlets game a little later in sports. All right, turning to Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire. And Bob, you were saying something about you're going to wash my car this weekend?
Well, we were thinking about it anyway because the weather's going to improve. But let me show you, we have a special car wash forecast. And here it is. I know it looks a little hokey, but we were having fun with this today. And you know this license plate, I hate dirt. That's what it says there, right? Anyway, let me show you what we're going to see. Going into tomorrow, I don't think that's the best day. It's got fair weather for that because we have a slight 20% chance for some rain showers moving in on Thursday afternoon. So I'd even hold back the wax. But on Friday and Saturday, go for it because we're looking at mostly sunny skies, cooler temperatures. The rain threat will have come and gone, so go ahead, add the wax on Friday and Saturday. Do it up great. Make that car shine because it's not going to rain again until maybe at least another 20% chance for showers on maybe next Wednesday. We'll have more about that coming up in a few more minutes.
Thanks, Bob. Tonight there is new information about that powerful explosion in Beirut's port that killed more than 100 people and injured thousands more. Here's CBS's Michael George.
Rescuers pulled a survivor of the massive blast from under the rubble after 16 hours. Investigators want to know why more than 2,700 tons of a highly explosive compound used in making fertilizer was stored in a Beirut waterfront warehouse for 6 years.
It could have been an accident, and it could have also been something that was very offensive, and I wouldn't be very happy with that.
The Lebanese government ordered the house arrest of several port officials in the aftermath of the explosion, felt more than 150 miles away in Cyprus. Records show that this Russian-owned cargo ship ran into trouble and pulled into port in 2013. Its abandoned cargo was transferred to a port warehouse. Before and after satellite images show the extent of the devastation. And this 29-year-old Lebanese bride posing for wedding pictures one second had to run for her life the next.
I was wondering what happened. Am I going to die? How I'm going to die?
Offers of help have been coming in from around the world. In Paris, the Eiffel Tower went dark at midnight. And despite Lebanon's decades-long tensions with Israel, Tel Aviv offered a sign of solidarity, lighting City Hall with a display of the Lebanese flag. Michael George, CBS News.
Well, that blast leveled Beirut's port and decimated its grain silos in a country that was already facing an economic collapse. The Dakota access pipeline has once again staved off an unprecedented shutdown after a mixed decision from the U.S. Court of Appeals. Judges ruled today that the Trump administration has to decide whether the conduit can operate while further review is done. The ruling buys pipeline operator Energy Transfer LP some time after a July 6 shutdown order rocked the industry. Yesterday, we shared with you the story about one of the largest planes in the world landing here in Billings. It's the Russian Antonov cargo plane. Made a stop here to pick up a Chinook helicopter from Billings Flying Service. That helicopter was loaded onto the plane last night for a year-long firefighting mission to Indonesia. And this morning, our cameras were there to see the big bird take off with not only the Chinook helicopter inside, but a team of firefighters from the Billings Flying Service and supplies to last them a year out in the field. The crew will be flying first to Alaska, then on to China before they finally land in Indonesia sometime in the next 40 hours. And we certainly wish them luck on their mission. Still to come on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2. Flathead cherries, always popular in Montana, are now growing in demand across the world. We'll have that story next. And in sports, batter up. The Scarlets and Royals take the field on day one of the State Legion Baseball Tournament. Highlights on the way.